Hello everybody, it's a wonderful day. I've been out for a couple of bike rides, small tiny bike rides, simply because I've got to watch it. I haven't been bike riding in a while. I've been recuperating from a fractured arm. Humerus, and it's a funny name for that bone too. Is the forearm. There's a humerus and an ulna. My humerus had broken from what I believe it might be called a torsion fracture. Anyways, uh, I'm trying to get my health back. Um, I've had to give up my dog because my lifestyle doesn't allow it. Hey, I'm over here, you. Hi. I got my squeaky chair. And let me see. Where I guess. um, Renegade Tom. Tom. Um, this is another response to Tom. We're having a discussion back and forth about some of the difficulties about the accumulation of capital into tighter and tighter groups, and it's a good discussion. And Tom, I agree with you in what you're saying there. There's been some interesting studies done in the past about economics and how things had functioned at one time. And this seems to be a pattern that happens over and over in history, and may very well be what leads to a lot of the collapses of civilizations. Um, but there was a time when we used to. Money is supposed to have an anchor. It's supposed to have some sort of a foundation. At one time, it was called the gold standard, where the actual a commodity. It doesn't have to be gold. It could be silver. One of them. You have to pick one and let the other ones float along with the rest of the market according to market values. But you anchor. You take some commodity and you claim this represents a dollar, whatever the currency is that you're going to use. This is what it's going to represent, and everything else will float in relationship to that. But this goes way back historically to even the period of barter and whatnot. It's the same idea. It's basically exchanging value for value. Using commodity. It sounds like basically somebody's trying to mystify it, and it's nothing mystical about it. It's just a commodity. It's like barter. Barter is basically trading commodities and labor and whatnot. And these accumulations. The accumulation of capital was what made it possible for America to grow so fast, so well, in such a short period of time. But the capital was accumulated in the individual's hands, where they'd accumulate this money, and they put it in a savings account where they'd accumulate interest. And the interest rate would vary according to how much demand there was on the banks to lend that money. The more demand there was, the more value there was in the interest. So that would cause people to want to put more of their money into the bank, and therefore an incentive to accumulate more capital. But the capital was accumulated into the individual's hands, all of the people, and the businesses would borrow that money to try to build up more capital in terms of property and equipment, and to create materials, sellable materials. And this would cycle back. There would be that interest that would come back to the individuals. But a lot of the systems seem to have gone haywire, and they're continually trying to de-anchor the dollar from some sort of backing. And what we have here now is this attempt. Right now, it's like digital. We can alter the money in the system using electronic manipulations, as opposed to what they used to use before that was basically printing press manipulations. And before that, they couldn't manipulate it so well because they had gold was the value, was the money, and people would have that in their own hand if they wanted to, and they would be able to go to the bank and deposit it there, but it was their gold. It was their money. The banks don't create money. The people are what's going around. They're exchanging their labor That's one possible stage. They exchange their labor for the commodity, and that way they'd have some storable and exchangeable means of using their labor in other ways that are a little bit more economical than just trying to go out and, let's say, grow a crop of wheat and say, I can only eat so much of this, but I got to sell trade some of this wheat for meat and potatoes and all the other stuff, and I have to go to each person who does that, and if they don't want the wheat, then I'm going to have to try to find somebody else who wants the wheat and get something that they want and go back to the other person. You know, it's a complicated indirect exchange, and common means of exchange was developed as a more economical and faster way of doing the exchanges. Currency is often confused with the idea that it's supposed to be something that's supposed to be continually in motion, and it's a big mistake, because currency was just the idea that it's just easier flow, that I can go directly to somebody and give them this common medium of exchange and exchange it for something directly that I want, rather than have to go to a rigmarole of indirect exchanges. It flowed better. And as to what happened to our economic structure, it seems to have become an institution upon itself, whereby we have to serve the institution of economics rather than the economic institution serving us. Economics is supposed to be something that helps us. It's not supposed to be something that we serve. So again, we have this problem where they've taken away the value. It used to be a point where they used to take the coin, the roll coin, and they devalue it by adding some other material into it, and then put it back out on the market, and they take the value of the gold that they took out of it to their own pocket. It was basically a robbing people of their value. Very complicated sort of thing. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this all done in one video here. So yes, we agree on that aspect of things. The accumulation and the respect that you're talking about can be a problem, but it's not. I don't really think that it is the problem. I think it is what they do to make it possible for them to accumulate or retain more or take out of the hands more from the proletariat. I'll just use that term for now. The populace, and I think that's more of the problem, because if you say to a person, okay, well, don't forget that you were talking about them having a very high tax on the inheritance way back when. Well, then somehow something happened for a person to be able to go out and make his fortune on his own, self-made man, whatever the case may be, big fortune, big company, very intelligent, made things work very well for himself. But he was able to take this and use it in a fashion to manipulate the system. It's the manipulation of the system that seems to be the biggest problem. Is if somebody's going to have more money than somebody else, doesn't that become a problem because that person has more power to manipulate than another person? I don't think that's really the thing we have to get at. Really, seriously, I don't think that's the thing that we have to get at. I think we have to get at the problem with the institution. I have this thing about institutions I've been thinking about more and more, where institutions become self-serving after a bit of time, because we tend to allow them to become automated. And upon this automation, we turn our backs on it, not realizing all the little other kind of intricate side effects they have. Remember, blowback is a side effect too of certain policies and actions they set up as automated systems or institutions. So this blowback isn't just with foreign stuff, it's also with internal stuff too, and we have problems with that. I'm going to stop this here, and I'll see if I can figure out how to continue on with this in another video. Thanks.